This story is very confusing, but this question is not. Number 17 is really straightforward. In fact, they could have omitted the entire story and we'd basically still be able to do it. They're asking us to rearrange the formula that they gave us into a new form. So we should take this formula out of the story, 2h plus d equals 25, that's right here, and we're going to arrange it so that we have an h equals. The answer choices basically give that away. So if for some reason you don't understand what the question is saying, just look at the choices. A lot of times they'll tell you what was meant. They mean solve for h. So we can absolutely do this algebraically, and quite honestly, it's probably the fastest way to go. We would just subtract d from both sides. We'd get 2h is equal to 25 minus d, and then we can divide by 2 to get h by itself. And 25 minus d over 2 is not an answer, but hopefully we understand that really what that means is when we divide by 2, it's the same as multiplying by a half, because multiplication and division are kind of the same thing. Fractions are really division and multiplication. It's all tangled up. So we can just rewrite this as 1/2 25 minus d, which is choice B. That is the fastest way to do it. However, if you were confused, obviously speed isn't really the problem for you here. You just need to get the answer. And this is a good example of you can be mediocre at math and still get a question like this right if you recognize that it's an arithmetized question. We could totally pick some numbers for our variables here because we never really need to solve for h or for d. They're just placeholders. So we can replace the placeholders. And as always, my favorite numbers to pick are 0, 1, 2, simple numbers. So what I would do here is, since h is kind of my goal, I want h to be as kind of on its own and not something that I randomly pick. So let me show you. I would pick 0 for d to start. That's going to get me my h, because now I would take my original equation, 2h plus 0 equals 25, right? So I'm putting 0 in for d in the original equation, and I'm solving for what h is. I don't randomly pick both numbers. H and d are dependent on each other. So I'm picking d first because it's kind of the number I'm going to be working with in the answer choices, so I want that to be as simple as possible. H, whatever. So in this case, it's just 2h equals 25, so that goes away. We just divide by 2, and we get that h is equal to 25 over 2, or if we really want to use the calculators here, we can just say that's 12.5. That's fine. Now we're looking for answer choices that give us 12.5 when we plug 0 in for d. And it should be pretty obvious that choices C and D are going to cause a problem. If we plug 0 in for either of these, we're going to have 25 in parentheses, but times negative a half. So that negative isn't going to go away. We're going to end up with negative 25 over 2, negative 12.5 for both of these. So we can't get rid of that negative. That can't be right. We need it to be a positive number. But if we plug 0 in for D in choices A and B, it would work in both, right? So plugging 0 in here means that we get h is equal to 1/2 of 25 plus 0, which is just 25 over 2, and we get h is equal to 1/2 25 minus 0, which is also 25 over 2. So 0 works for both of these, which is why when you arithmetize, you always need to try your number in every single choice, because we're looking to make sure we didn't accidentally pick a bad number. I do not think that 0 is a bad number. I think it very quickly eliminates some answer choices and clarifies the question in ways that let you pick a new number that's actually really, really simple as well. So don't worry if it doesn't work. That's part of the process. Just choose a new number. Let's choose d equals 1 now. And now my equation is 2h plus 1 is 25. Subtract the 1. 2h is equal to 24, which means that h is equal to 12. And since C and D are eliminated, we don't need to look at them again. We just need to look at A and B. Let's squeeze it in. Actually, we can do this. We don't need that anymore. If we did choice A, we'd have h is equal to 1/2 25 plus 1, which is 1/2 of 26, which is 13. But we want h to be 12, so we got a wrong number. Let's try b. H is equal to 1/2 25 minus 1. 1/2 of 24 is, in fact, 12, what we wanted. So there's more proof that B is the answer. Notice, arithmetizing took longer, for sure. But at a number 17, we're getting into hard question territory. So for some people who struggle with math, this might be a place where you're normally losing points. You're getting stuck on these stories, you're not comfortable with algebra, so you need a new strategy. If that's the case for you, and the algebra explanation didn't make a lot of sense, then you need to arithmetize here. Take the time. Guarantee yourself these 10 points because they're only going to get harder. And this is one with a little persistence that you can definitely get right and add those 10 points to your score. I think it's worth it. And this is why the strategies are useful. They give you points that you might not have been able to get if you were doing these things the traditional way. Arithmetize a very valuable tool if algebra is not your strong suit.